For years, the public has scrutinized Queen Elizabeth II's relationship with Princess Diana. While the Queen's passing shocked the world, many people are reminded of Diana. The media and public discourse have returned to the question of Diana's relationship with her mother-in-law. The public's focus on the Queen's legacy started when Princess Diana joined the royal family, but many people question whether their relationship was truly turbulent. Welcome to Planet Lux, and in this video we'll take a look at what actually happened between Queen Elizabeth and Princess Diana. The late Queen Elizabeth II and her daughter-in-law, Princess Diana, had more in common than you might think. They both dedicated their lives to public service, they were both strong in their own ways, and they were both devoted to their families and subjects alike. However, Queen Elizabeth and Princess Diana were very different. Diana was modern and outspoken, whereas the Queen was silent and traditional. Lady Diana Spencer, an aristocrat with many royal family connections, married King Charles in July 1981. They had two sons, Princes William and Harry, who are the grandchildren of Queen Elizabeth. After several public squabbles, Charles and Diana divorced in 1996, and Princess Diana died the following year. But what was the real nature of Queen Elizabeth and Princess Diana's relationship? Much of the information used to construct the narrative is skewed. The Queen had known Diana Spencer or had heard of her for the majority of her life. The Spencers were a well-known family with royal connections. Diana's father was an equerry or personal attendant to the Queen's father, King George VI, then to the Queen herself. Her grandmother was Elizabeth's mother's lady-in-waiting. Diana's parents' wedding was attended by Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, and the Queen is Diana's younger brother Charles' godmother. Princess Diana was born and raised on the grounds of the royal estate in Sandringham, Norfolk, at Park House. The families had known each other for many years as neighbors. Diana's older sister, in fact, dated King Charles before he met Diana. Diana first met then Prince Charles in 1977, according to her royal biography. He'd been invited to the Spencer estate in Althorpe, where Diana's father had become Earl Spencer in 1975. By the way, if you're watching this for the first time, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can enjoy our future videos while getting updated. Getting back to the topic, when they first started dating, a marriage between Charles and Diana was far from certain. So, when was Diana introduced to the Queen as a possible Charles partner? When she was invited to the Royal Scottish country estate, Balmoral, she had her most sustained early interaction with the royal family. The Queen thought Diana was a good match for Charles. She was a big hit with the royal family and they really liked her. Diana worked very hard to ingratiate herself and model what she imagined it would be like to be a princess, and she was very successful. Diana's success, however, would later come back to haunt her. In retrospect, many would argue that she was not her authentic self during that visit, and was instead playing a role she aspired to rather than being herself. She was trying her hardest to fit in. She was a city girl who pretended to adore the countryside. She completed all the tasks that she was required to complete but did not enjoy. At first, everything between Queen Elizabeth and Diana went smoothly. We do know that based on their experiences in Scotland, both she and Philip thought Diana was very acceptable. They supported the union. The Queen approved of Charles's choice, or rather of the woman she believed Diana to be, despite their differences. The relationship would not have progressed if she had not given her approval. The Queen has never been captured on film. She keeps her mouth shut. As a result, we don't know. We don't have access to her diaries or private thoughts. We can examine her actions and behaviors. These are the only clues we have. Diana, on the other hand, may have realized she had taken on more than she could handle. After her first romance in Scotland, she realized how difficult the royal family would be and how unprepared she was to be a full-fledged member of the family. Diana gave the Queen the impression that she could handle royal life, and not just because of her success at Balmoral. In a 1981 Time magazine, there was an article announcing her engagement. Because of the media attention, the Queen began pressuring Charles to propose, giving him an ultimatum to marry Diana by the summer of 1981, or not at all. The idea of this romance continuing for another year is intolerable to everyone involved, the Queen told Time magazine. Elizabeth was beaming when the public announcement was made. However, Diana's life would take a darker turn as she moved into the royal apartments at Buckingham Palace in preparation for the wedding. Diana desired more direction and believed that the Queen could have provided it. So it's a fishbowl experience with very few people on the inside, and Diana described her experience as profoundly lonely, wishing that women and the royal family in particular had been more accessible, more available to her. The Queen, on the other hand, might have had a different perspective. She may have thought she was very approachable, and she may have thought she did everything she could given her role, commitments, and constraints. We do get a sense of how the Queen feels about the situation. According to Ingrid Seward's 2002 book, The Queen and D, Elizabeth wrote a letter to a friend in March 1981 in which she stated, "I trust that Diana will find living here less of a burden than is expected. Of course, that is not what happened, at least not from Diana's perspective." She characterized the royal family as cold, heartless, and unsympathetic. Following Charles and Diana's wedding on July 29, 1981, the Queen began to entrust Diana with royal duties, demonstrating her trust in the new princess's ability to carry out her official duties. Diana's first solo task was to represent the royal family at the funeral of Princess Grace of Monaco, which the Queen allowed her to do despite Charles's reservations. The princess's success at the event led to many more, and even the Queen recognized that she had a way with people that could boost the monarchy's popularity. She was a valuable asset until she stole the show. Part of the challenge for the Queen, and especially for Charles, was that Diana glows so brightly that she actually, and not necessarily on purpose, eclipsed those around her. Prince Charles and Princess Diana were mismatched from the beginning, and with their marriage on the rocks, Queen Elizabeth and Princess Diana's relationship was also on the rocks. The princess stated in tapes from 1993, which were made public in 2004 and released with the 2017 documentary Diana in Her Own Words, which aired in the United Kingdom, that she was not given the support she required when she went sobbing to ask the Queen for help with the marriage. Perhaps the Queen's lowest point during her 70-year reign came when Diana was killed in a car accident just 1 year after her divorce from Charles. Instead of immediately returning to London from Balmoral to console her people, Elizabeth chose to remain in Scotland to care for her bereaved children, William and Harry, who had just lost their mother. Elizabeth's decision to remain in seclusion enraged her subjects and fueled conspiracy theories about Diana's death. A week after Diana's death and the night before her funeral, the Queen returned to Buckingham Palace and delivered a rare live television speech about the princess. It was a watershed moment in her reign. Her broadcast, however, was heavily influenced by Tony Blair, the Prime Minister at the time. Ironically, if things had gone differently, Queen Elizabeth and Princess Diana could have formed a powerful alliance, working toward the same goals but using very different approaches. And with that being said, it's time to end our video, but before that, would like to know what are your views about the royal family? Let us know in the comments. Like this video and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more amazing videos like this. We'll see you in the next video.